Before we cross to the president, we were speaking to a local startup, Digs Connect co-founder Alexandria Patterson. And she was speaking to us about the new deal that they've made with student.com, a service that is going to help them to expand to 400 new cities in 30 countries in the next 6 months. Alexandria, thank you so much for your patience, first of all, and sorry for stopping you while you were telling us that story. And I apologize for calling you
I can't really compete with the president.
I apologize for calling you Alexandria Patterson. It's Alexandria Proctor, who is a co-founder of Digs Connect. Alexandria, so you were telling me about the nature of the partnership. What exactly are you getting from student.com, and what are they getting from you? Is this a merger? What kind of partnership is it? What are the details?
Yes. So, yeah, we kind of realized that we want to kind of merge our two companies together to tackle the whole world. They've been struggling to really make an impact in Africa. They'd sent some team members down, but I think unless you are South African, it's hard to kind of, get started up here. And so we realized coming together, combining our teams, African insights, our footprint here, our work with our landlords, the work with the different universities, and the students on the ground here, and with their massive expertise. And they've been going for 10 years now. They have the most incredible investors and team and expertise and product. Working together, we could really sort of unlock the continent, because so far, Digs Connect only has presence in South Africa. But we really are so excited to go into the rest of the continent. So the idea was, how can we sort of, combine our resources, our know-how, and then tackle the rest of the continent, kind of open it up so we can get, South African and African students that want to go study overseas, create a gateway, go through Digs Connect, find a home. If you want to go to London or to Berlin or New York, you can now go to Digs and find that student housing. And then also for international students that want to come study in South Africa, like, here's a place, we have the homes, we have a place for you to stay, go to your UCT, your Wits, or whatever it was, and just create this gateway, this free flow of people and business and ideas. And I think after 2 years of lockdown, people are so excited just to get out, go do a semester abroad, just have that flow again. And so the idea of the partnership was that we would just share each other's stock, and say that, if for students who wanted to go study in the UK, they could book through Digs Connect, but then go stay with a landlord that had signed up with student.com. And then we have a rev share, which is based on each location. So it's more complex. It gets to, demand in the marketplace at each location. But that's pretty much the long and the short of it.
Alexandria, global expansion is great, but a few South African companies have been bitten in their attempts to expand globally. How do you make sure that your enterprise thrives?
Yeah, look, when we first started the company, obviously going global is a goal for any company. And I mean, it's been about a year or so that we wanted to go global. And so we've been probing a bunch of different ideas, a bunch of different countries, partnerships that could help make this work. So we've been looking into, across Africa, across the world. We're looking at the Netherlands quite seriously for a while. And it's really understanding, the context of our business. Would something like Digs Connect take off in Amsterdam or Utrecht or London, and understanding, what's the demand like from landlords or from students. And sometimes you'll find there's a lot of pressure from students that are really struggling to find a home, but then with the landlords, they don't need us at all, so we can work there. Other times you'll find there's a lot of stock and a lot of landlords, but not a high demand from students. So finding that sweet spot is really tricky. And of course, you got to put a lot of capital into going into a new market. And coming off the back of the last 2 years, there isn't a lot of capital going around in PropTech startups. So it was all these really constraining circumstances that we were in. And I think often, the more constraints you have, the more creative you have to be. So that's why I was, continue trying to find the right pathway to go international. And then we came across student.com and we started chatting to, the incredible team there, realized that this is the way we're going to do it. So it's kind of leveraging this partnership and working together with them. I think it's going to make us work, and kind of really leaning on their expertise and really leaning on what they've built already. So we're looking at a long-term partnership with some, incredible people, and I think that's what's going to help this work.
Well, your business is one of the few that has managed to really weather the storm of COVID-19. Do you have any words of advice for some entrepreneurs who are maybe having a tougher time post-COVID?
Yeah, it's tough. I think that people do give out, advice on, how to manage budgets or how to raise funding, especially when it comes to early stage startups. People will kind of give advice, on what deals you should and shouldn't take. But I think when it comes down to it, as an entrepreneur, I mean, your business it's your life, and I think you kind of know what the right situation is, and you got to do what you got to do to make it survive. And that means sometimes cutting deals that you wouldn't have cut when things were better. If you just have to close that deal, you have to go for it. So I think it's really about, being as creative as you possibly can. And when you're looking at a deal, thinking how you can structure it so that, in the long term, it does work out, but also just keeping it alive. I mean, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to keep your company alive through a rough time and know it'll come out. But also being very creative to pivoting to other opportunities, to new markets. Yeah.
Well, Alexandria, thank you so much. It's great to have a story of a business that's managed to make it through COVID-19. Alexandria Proctor, a co-founder of DigsConnect.com.